Hi, my name is Mike Ratner. Pleased to meet you. So I just came from an interview and I was asked if I could make a brief, video presentation about what it is that I do in regards to a lecture that is being proposed that I give about my philosophy on ultra being, which is an exciting opportunity. First off, I want to clarify that I do not, any of my degrees have anything to do with philosophy, nor have I ever taken a class on philosophy. So I can't say that I'm schooled in it. However, having a philosophy sort of requires for you to justify it. And it's part of my, you could say, research, and I definitely have an interest in the social sciences. I have clued myself into what I call ultra being as a way of being, not that I practice it, but the idea is that if we could research what could become a commodity for living, which means that you and I could sort of have a relationship in the way that we relate to life, which is what's called an ontology, which is a philosophy for living, a way of studying the quality of being. Why not quantify it and qualify it and call it ultra being? So, ultra being, in the way I define it, is looking at the way we can be at our best. And for me, which would be ultra being loving, kind, attuned, present, considerate, all those type of things that are in tune to what I would say would be relationship to life and to each other, that then is maximized to be as we would relate to each other in a community setting, as something we can define as being, um, I guess, the best that we could be in that way. But yeah, it goes deeper. So when I look at my own way and my own sort of quote unquote life lessons, I would be able to relate on a certain level with people that sort of would be considered to where they're at. So it's not that I would dictate to them like, hey, I've got this ultra being philosophy and there's a certain method to my madness. I'm just taking things apart, sort of deconstructing sort of the elements that define for myself in the way that I view humanity and where we're at whatever level of consciousness we would define or agree, that gives us a basis to say, well, hey, if we're looking at the pinnacle peak and we could compare this to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that pyramid where we go at the bottom level, rise up from struggle and survival needs to the pinnacle peak, which is being self-actualized. What actually would that be like? How do we actualize it? And how do we consider what this would be? So this would be what I would talk about. And I've been doing writing for some time on this idea, mostly to fit into what I was writing for my dissertation in 2018. But since then, it's kind of grown to other elements that I've sort of just recently expanded within the last year. I'm talking now at the end of 2023 here. Ideas about IGO, which is new, that I put together as a book proposal that I submitted in September, actually October, but I submitted early before the deadline. Good for me. So you can find this particular writing at igoism.com. So it's spelled igoism.com, IGO. So it's not to be confused with the ego, Freud's concept, but which his publicist named. He actually didn't have the term ego until after the publicist said, well, let's just call it this. Ego, in my terminology, is the selfie of the mind, which has never been named, which is the self imagining, the self projection of identity, which I think is a very crucial element here that informs this ultra being philosophy, because we can't really sort of consciously raise our awareness until we become a bit more attuned to understanding where we are right now as a society and my individuality in the way that it's manufactured and what are these components and these elements. So these are the things I talk about. Now, you can find an assemblage of these writings sort of like a sampler patter, a platter. So, so it's something just sort of you'll get tidbits of it, but there'll be links that expand on it. And there's much more to divulge in this what eventually will be my grand work. But you can go to grandtourideas.com to get this little platter and of sampling and tastings, grandtourideas.com. And then for myself, if you want to know more about me, my name is my resume CV website at mikeratner.com, Ratner. And there you'll find other writing proposals that kind of range the gamut from political insights to where we're at, in my view, as a quote unquote social scientist. So hopefully that's of interest to you. You can also contact me through there. So if, I'd love to talk to you about it, whether we do a group Zoom or you want to fly me out to give a little presentation at your conference. I'm happy to do that, really, because I think the time has come to consider these ideas for the benefit of creating a desirable, sustainable future. So I have to say the basis of my work and goal is centered on this idea. All right, well, something to consider, and there is more of an explanation about Ultra Being at grandtourideas.com because it's sort of where the basis of the work is. And really, there's probably about 100 different ideas, so we're not going to go into these things here. But you'll be able to find a good deal of it at either mikeratner.com and grandtourideas.com. Thank you for your consideration, and I hope there's something that we can connect on in the future. I appreciate it.